Massive Xbox sale is going on that you won't want to miss. We have more Call of Duty information about Black Ops 7, as well as what could be coming out after Black Ops 7. What is the next game coming out here in 2026? Major layoffs at Virtuous, who is the developer behind one of the best-selling games this year. An update on Subnautica and the whole lawsuit and everything going on with Krafton. Gamescom is setting records. PS6 and the next PlayStation and Handheld, we have info on that, as well as Dune Awakening and Rematch. Very, very strong outings here for new online games as a service games multiplayer game. So we'll get into all of this, but before we do get into it, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe, share, like, all that stuff. It really helps the channel and video out, so I do appreciate it. But for now, let's jump into it. We'll start off here talking about a major Xbox sale because, I mean, that is the main point of gaming, is to play video games. And if there are good sales, especially on backwards compatible titles or titles you want to add to your library, it's always good to check out these sales and add the games that you don't have. Huge sale going on right now at Xbox, and 70 plus backwards compatible games in the Xbox summer sale. So original Xbox and 360 games. I always mainly focus on trying to pick up backwards compatible games from the older generations whenever these sales do hit the store, to add them to my catalog, because sometimes you can't find physical versions of them, or they've just increased in price to a stupid degree that if you could find the digital version, that's just the better way to go. But here are some of these sales that are going on here. You got Brutal Legend, which is 80% off. That's a pretty cool game. Blue Dragon, 67% off. You have the old Call of Duty, Call of Duty 2 and Call of Duty 3, 50% off. The Black Ops games, my favorite ones in the series, Black Ops 2 and Black Ops, which are phenomenal, 70% off and 50% off. You have the Modern Warfare games on sale too. Lots of great Castlevania games on sale here. Symphony of the Night, and a phenomenal game, the original one that did come out on the PS1. You have this version here, as well as the Lord of Shadows games, which are pretty cool. Those I would love to see kind of brought back, and maybe a new one made. Deus Ex, Dragon Age Origins, Fable series on sale, Fight Night Champion, which I absolutely love, some Lego games, and just a bunch of stuff here, up to like 80, 85, 90% off on certain games. So a huge sale here going on at Xbox for backwards compatible, which, as we know, a lot of these games with the Xbox backwards compatibility has upgrades to them that are just already added to it, like HDR and frame rate boost, and a lot of that stuff brings some of these older games back to life that they basically look like remasters on your Xbox Series X, when it is just the hardware adding the better visual elements to these games. So cool stuff there. Go check out that sale and pick up stuff in your backwards compatible catalog. As we know, there were the whole layoffs and everything happening across the industry and at Xbox. And when the Xbox ones that hit, people had questions about what games were still in development, what games were canceled. Contraband was one of those games that a lot of people were spreading around that the game was canceled, but that so far seemingly has been untrue. I talked about this, I think it was last week or the week before, that they're still working on this game as of right now. If you go ahead and look at them, they're hiring developers. There was no official announcement from Xbox or from Avalanche that the game had been canceled. And we have more proof here that they are still working on this game. And hopefully we see more about Contraband soon, because I think the biggest flaw right now is that they just showed it off and announced it too early, because we haven't seen anything for it in a while. But job listings here are showing that it is still in development. This here is Avalanche Studios looking for a product lead for the game, and specifically they want a lead for its live service aspects, confirming it to be a live service game, which we could have all predicted after we heard the first little bit of information about the game. It seems like it's like a heist style co-op multiplayer game, which could be pretty fun. Kind of reminds me of like Payday and stuff. I feel like it'll be along those lines. It says here, as the product lead for Live, you are responsible for the player acquisition, engagement, retention, and monetization strategy of our Live service. And the posting reads, you will own the product vision for Live, optimize player value for our Live KPIs, manage a small team of product managers, and lead marketing, community, and analytics for the project. They say also that you will also be a key stakeholder of the development team on new Live game features, content, and platform capabilities capabilities and represent live towards our publisher, and your primary focus will be on prioritizing the development roadmap and ensuring all releases meet their target. So clearly Contraband as of right now is still in development. The question is, how much longer is this game still in development, and when will we see more of it? You have to think that it's been a while since they announced it. There can't be that much more development time, as they wouldn't want to sink too many more resources with all of these years gone by, especially from the previous games that did get canceled and the reasoning behind that. So you think Contraband is relatively close. I have a feeling we're going to see it soon, and we will eventually be able to play it in the next year or so. We'll see. They're still looking for people to lead some pretty important stuffs for the game, but who knows? But the fact that it's still in development, it has me thinking that it is closer to be released than it is further away. Obviously, Call of Duty is a massive series every year. We have Call of Duty Black Ops 7 coming out this year. We're going to see more about it at Gamescom. Jeff Keighley already announced that is going to have a big place at the opening night live. And now we are looking forward to when this one is going to be released. And apparently it is going to be released in November. This comes via Ghost of Hope, who has been putting out a lot of stuff about the Call of Duties that are upcoming, and says that it will launch globally on November 14th, 2025, which I believe Black Ops 6 came out in October, so this is a few weeks after that. I'm thinking we are going to be getting the beta sometime in October, and then we'll be able to play the full game on November 14th. I'm excited to see how they improve upon Black Ops 6 with Black Ops 7, or if it will be basically the same with new maps, some weapon changes, and a brand new campaign story, because the campaign of Black Ops 6 was good, and I'm hoping they just continue to add to that and make the story better. From what we know from the last one going into this one, they are focusing more on making the campaigns better, because Modern Warfare 3's campaign was not liked by many people. It was kind of a vision that they hadn't fully fleshed out. Black Ops 7, they added to that, gave much better story, gave you some open world style of missions in it, and I think they're just going to improve upon that even more on Black Ops 7. So once Black Ops is done, what's going to be coming in 2026? We do have some more information on that as well. It looks like it will not be Advanced Warfare 2, which is what a lot of people thought was going to be coming here after Black Ops 7. But Ghost of Hope here with some more information says Call of Duty 2027 by Sledgehammer Games will not be Advanced Warfare 2 and will instead be set in a completely new sub-franchise set during the modern era. No jetpacks, but movement is planned to be a big focus. Zombies is currently not planned for the game, and You Get High is planned to return. And there may be a focus on martial arts within the gameplay, with karate kicks and karate chops as examples. So this sounds risky, because they're going to go with something brand new that people may not end up liking. They could have gone with Advanced Warfare 2 or just another one in a different series that would have already had some name notoriety to it. But I'm absolutely excited for them to be trying something new here, and that they're not just going to continue to piggyback off of previous games that they did make. So cool stuff there. We will see, especially like karate chops and karate kicks. Like, how much melee are they going to include in this game, and how big of a focus will that be in a first-person shooter, especially in the Call of Duty series? I wonder if that was a much bigger focus, how people would take and would they enjoy that. So lots to look forward to here when it comes to Call of Duty. Layoffs. We'll talk more about some layoffs here, because, of course, the whole Xbox layoffs happened. It's not a shocker. There have been layoffs across the entire industry consistently. I talk about almost all of them when I do see them pop up in the news over the last number of years. And there are some major layoffs here happening at Virtuos, who is a studio you wouldn't really expect to be having major layoffs after they've released and worked on some of the best-selling games. They're about to put out another game in Metal Gear Solid Delta, which I think is going to sell insanely well. They put out the Oblivion remaster, which is one of the best-selling games so far this year. So you would think they would be safe, but they are not safe, and this is just a product of where we are right now in the gaming industry with development costs being overinflated. They need to figure out ways to get better profit margins on everything that they do put out here. But Virtuos is confirming here layoffs in a new statement. They say here, this is a statement given to Eurogamer, that the studio said that 200 people were let go across Asia and 70 were in Europe. Of those 70, less than 10 were in France, where the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered was develop. So obviously they got hit the least, probably because their game has been so successful, but they did also put out a statement here about separation packages, career transition assistance, and all of those things. And the statement went on to say that Virtuos will continue to invest in global delivery, technical excellence, and creative collaboration, ensuring that Virtuos remains the partner of choice for the world's leading game creators. So there you have it. They are right now preparing for the launch of Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, set to launch here on August 28th. And they're also going through layoffs. And it just brings, I think, the whole stuff that happened with Xbox even more to light, that this is an industry-wide issue right now. And this is why I think a lot of the outrage and everything when last week or whenever it was 2 weeks ago when Xbox had their layoffs, a lot of it, I think, especially from content creators, is fabricated, in the sense that if you're paying attention at all to what is happening across the industry, it's not shocking. It's sad for the people that lose their jobs, of course, but at the same time, it just isn't shocking to see this. And we will continue to see it from more companies, more publishers, more developers before the end of this year. And you have to ask yourself, when is this ending? When is the industry going to feel like they've put themselves in a place where they're able to make the money they need to make? Because that's what it all comes down to, is how much money can they make per each release. And then these layoffs will slow down a bit. Because if you take a look at, I talked about this in one of my videos talking about the Xbox layoffs. If you take a look pre-2022, the layoffs in the industry were there, but they were far less than what we have been seeing here over the last few years. So this is just what is happening, and we will continue to see more, unfortunately. The other interesting story happening in gaming right now is Subnautica and the founders versus Krafton. This is a very, very interesting one that is going on, and we will continue to follow it. Started off with Krafton delaying the game, that they apparently did this because they didn't want to pay out a $250 million bonus if the game met their goals by date in 2025. Then the founders had set a lawsuit against Krafton, and now they are accusing Krafton of ripping the game from its creators in the name of money. This is what the actual lawsuit here is saying. Specifically, we have this here. In a statement, Krafton denied that its decision to fire the trio was influenced by any contractual or financial considerations. And on Wednesday, details of the former executive's lawsuit against Krafton were published. And it says here, in short, Krafton flagrantly breached both the letter and the spirit of the promises at the very core of its agreement to purchase Unknown Worlds. It promised to leave creative and operational control in the hands of founders. Promise broken. It promised to consult the founders before taking any action that could harm the earnout. Promise broken. It promised not to take any action with the primary business purpose of frustrating the earnout. Promise broken. And it promised not to terminate the founders without cause. Promise broken. Why? Because Krafton knew that allowing the founders to launch Subnautica 2 was planned would generate enormous commercial success and require Krafton to pay $250 million earnout. By firing the founders and delaying the launch, Krafton can capture what's left of the game's commercial success without paying the Unknown Worlds team a penny of the earnout. So that's what they are claiming. That's why they are saying they got fired, they got let go, and that the game was delayed and everything. So I'm sure Krafton will respond, and this will be taken to court, and somebody will be proven correct or wrong. But it's just a very interesting one here, and it's another sign of big publishers just they're trying to save as much money in any way possible. I mean, if what the founders are saying is correct. And Krafton is also that company that did take over Hi-Fi Rush and Tango Gameworks. So I wonder how that game's going, if there will be any controversy surrounding that. So lots to see here going forward with Krafton and the games that they are releasing. Gamescom is relatively soon, and it seems like it is going to be huge from a showcase perspective, from games that are going to be playable, all of that stuff, because Gamescom is claiming that there's a record high interest from games companies in attending the event. So I'm very much looking forward to this event. Gamescom 2025 right now has CI Games, Electronic Arts, Giant Software, Head Up, Calypso, Konami, Lego, Level Infinite, Marvelous Europe, Netflix, Paramount, Sega, and Tencent Games. We know Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation are going to be there. 2K is going to be there. Blizzard is going to be there. Ubisoft is going to be there. So it is going to be a massive, massive show where you're getting all of the big hitters all in one place. And then Opening Night Live will be hosted on August 19th. And they say here that the figures speak for themselves. Gamescom 2025 will be bigger, more thrilling, and once again, the beating heart of the global gaming community. The managing director of the German games industry says preparations for Gamescom 2025 are in full swing. And while there are still a few weeks to go, one thing is for sure: at the end of August, the gaming world will once again gather in Germany for the most spectacular and diverse Gamescom yet. So this is going to be a big show. I'm excited for opening it live. I'm excited to see just kind of gameplay of games that have been announced after the show, when you have people out there checking out all the exhibits, and I will definitely be covering the news on that. PlayStation 6, there's going to be a PlayStation 6, and we have a bit more information here. There also potentially is going to be a PlayStation Handheld to take on the emerging handheld gaming market, from what Xbox is putting out to the PC gaming markets to the Nintendo Switch 2. But the PlayStation 6 here, they say, will likely feature a 24 gigabyte RAM for advanced ray tracing and machine learning without raising costs. And this all comes from Digital Foundry and replying to a supporter's question during their weekly podcast. And they say here that PlayStation 6, given what already can be achieved with 16 gigabytes and how they're already hitting limits in regards to textures and assets, 24 gigabytes of RAM sounds reasonable, as the extra RAM over the current system will be needed for machine learning and more advanced ray tracing that's already being teased as a part of the future of PlayStation. And additionally, the cost of DRAM is high and hasn't seen any significant drop in the past few years, so this will undoubtedly be a limiting factor. And as for the rumored PlayStation Handheld, if it's real, it will come with 16 gigabytes of RAM, making 24 gigabytes a more sensible choice for the home system. I think that there will be a PlayStation Handheld. I do believe PlayStation is going to jump back in even after the PS Vita, where you would have thought they were just going to leave that market behind, but especially because of how successful the Nintendo Switch 2 is with their console handheld hybrid, and PlayStation competes very well in Japan, they may be looking at that market specifically and thinking, how can we pull people away from the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2 and go out and buy a PlayStation handheld instead. And I think that these handhelds will have very similar features. Like you're going to be able to plug them into your TV, whether it comes with a dock or not, that's a different question, but you're going to be able to use HDMI, plug it into your TV and everything, and be able to play your games from your handheld and your TV. I'm sure there would be like third-party docks that companies sell. So I can see PlayStation doing something like that. I can see Xbox doing something like that, basically following the Nintendo Switch model, which has been insanely successful. Even the Switch 2, with the higher prices for the console launch, has sold crazily well. People love that versatility of being able to pick it up on the go, plug it into your TV seamlessly, and it just works. So will be very interesting, the next generation, how these companies do go forward. And finally, as we know, games as a service are hard to break in these days, but we have two games here that are topping the revenue charts, and they're both new games as a service multiplayer games. Dune Awakening, which I have not played yet, and Rematch, which I have played and I think is a lot of fun. They have launched here, both entering June's top 10 games for 2025 by revenue. This is per global firm Newzoo. You take a look here at the chart, and here are the top 10 games. You have Rematch here at number 9. It broke the top 10 highest grossing games of June following its release. It's been out about a month, and it's $30 also on Game Pass, and people are loving it. I'm enjoying that one. Then you have Dune here at number 5, which launched on June 10th and attracted 1.3 million players within its first 20 days. So there's definitely a place for these new multiplayer games as a service games to succeed. It just is becoming harder and harder. You have to have something that is kind of different, unique, sets it apart from other games, that has very addicting gameplay. Now, Dune Awakening I haven't played, but from stuff I've seen about that, it looks very cool. Rematch, coming from the Sifu developers, completely different from what they created with Sifu. It plays like Rocket League, but it has soccer, which is it's the most popular sport in the world, I believe, or one of the most popular sports in the world. And it's just really fun to play. It's really fun when you have a team going and people are playing together, and there's a lot of strategy involved in this stuff. So good for them. I can see that game just being huge now for a very, very long time. I can see it turning into a Rocket League, even potentially turning into like a Fortnite, with having just longevity in terms of its success. But I'll end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.